Christmas possibilities, and doesn't sound like there's a Chinaman's chance that he could get off for that. I've looked into the airfares and the flights from Sacramento to San Luis, and they have them, but not on Sundays. And the only way he could do it would be to get away on Friday night and then fly back Monday morning. And he says that's, at present at least, is just out of the question. He just can't get that much time off. So I don't know what we'll do. Maybe Judy and Brad could have Christmas with her parents. I don't know whether they're the kind of people that have Christmas or what, but that would be something. And then Marty, I was talking to him on the phone last Friday, I guess, the day we got home, and to find out what his chances were, and also to tell him that we probably wouldn't have anything doing Thanksgiving. He didn't seem to be faced with any problems as far as Christmas was concerned, and I imagine that Steve is in the same boat. I haven't talked to Steve about it, but I have an idea that he could get off for come down Friday night and be here Saturday for Christmas, and then maybe go home Sunday evening. He probably doesn't have to work Christmas Day nor the Sunday following, so he would be okay. But we would like to have Christmas here at the house if it's possible. I even talked to Brad yesterday about the possibility. I know it would be kind of not as nice as we would have it here if we have Christmas together in Brad's house, but that means we'd all have to stay in motels and things like that, and it just wouldn't be the same. However, it is a possibility. Fran, I got part of your vitamins and had to order other stuff that you had on there. It won't be available until, well, pretty quick now, I think, around the middle of this month. Two of the items were on sale at pretty good prices. The full Vita, I guess, that multivitamin, at least at that time, was not on sale, but neither was it available, so I don't know just what the score will be on that. However, I don't think I'll worry about sending you any bills or anything, and when you come over we can settle up on the thing. Then it'd be simpler, and it doesn't involve that much money anyway. Uncle Dean is down in Southern California right now. He called just before we were ready to go to Three Rivers, and of course Gay had made an appointment with Merle Darcy to have our anniversary pictures taken over there this last Tuesday, and it was pretty hard to kick that out of the way. So he called me from Los Banos, I guess it was. He came down with some friends up there, riding with them, and they stopped overnight in Los Banos, and he called me and was considering the possibility of stopping by here on their way south, but I told him we were going to be leaving the next morning, and so that he'd better go down and get his visiting done with Tinka and Bob and a few others down south. He went to see Aunt Esther, and then stop in here with us on the way back. We hope he can stay for 2 or 3 days. He called me yesterday and said that he probably would be coming up here on this Wednesday, which would be a couple of days yet. And I don't know, he didn't commit himself how long he'd be here, and I presume that the people that he is with are going to go on down to, or he said they were going to go to San Diego, and I presume they'll be down there for 3 or 4 days maybe, and then they can come by here and pick him up on their return to Idaho. The rain we had last weekend was kind of spotted around here, I guess. They had a little over 2 inches in Arroyo Grande, which is not very far away, but I'm sure we didn't have anything like that here. I had the lawn ground in the back of the patio all prepared and raked and one thing another, and it had dried out some while we were over Three Rivers, and it didn't rain enough to soak it down more than possibly an inch at the most, so I doubt very much that we had over a half an inch here, maybe not that much. it didn't rain, must have rained pretty hard because it washed some dirt down off of the neighbor's bank here next to our sidewalk. But the hills are really greening up, really look nice now. It's a real pretty day here today, and yesterday was fairly good, although it was scattered clouds, and it's warming up north in Salinas and Monterey this morning. They're talking about temperatures right close to 70. Is your weather kind of moderated over there now? I have been under the impression that this November was the best month. Of course, you intimated that maybe October was supposed to be in your last tape, but according to the weather chart in the little white book, it looked to me like Tokyo's best month was November. But be that as it may, we're having pretty damn nice weather for November. In fact, it's a little too nice in some places. Very few scattered clouds around today, and the surf yesterday and all up and down the coast, I guess, is really booming. They had 6 and 8 foot waves down at Malibu, and it looked like we had something in the order of 5 to 6 feet here yesterday. It's not quite so high this morning, but it's big, long combers you can see filling white for a long ways at a time, so they're pretty high. Do you intend to rent a car when you get back to San Francisco, or what do you want to do? I was going to say, if you don't want to, you could maybe fly down here and I could pick you up, and then we could go from here to Three Rivers for the anniversary party. And then, of course, the next week, I don't know just what your plans would be, but I suppose some 2 or 3 days at least before Brad's wedding, you'll want to be up in that end of the country. So we probably would not consider going from Three Rivers up to Sacramento and spending all that week up there. We did have, well, I should tell you that Brad called after your telephone call to him, which was, I think he said last Wednesday. He called here, and of course we weren't home, and then he called Gay, and we were there. And when he called, I didn't talk to him, but Gay did, and of course she gave him all the information that he was concerned with, mainly about if we were coming to the wedding and so forth. So we had him make reservations up to, I believe it's the Roadway Inn there in North Highlands, for Saturday night after the wedding, and we would probably, all of us, Gay and Earl and Mother and I and the kids and everybody, go up Saturday afternoon and go to the wedding and then stay overnight and come home Sunday. But what your plans will be in there, I don't know. We do want you to spend a little more time with us this trip than you did last time, if it's at all possible, because with Christmas and everything, we don't want to just be coming and going and coming and going. If it's possible for you to spend 4 or 5 days here, we'd really like to have you do it. Yeah. I guess you thought that last tape I sent you was a weather and news report. It involved an awful lot of it, but it was things that were quite big in our news here at that time, and as you said, you get an awful lot of news, especially stuff that goes national, and so I suppose you had at least a fair reporting of all those incidents that I put on from the TV or the radio and that I told you about, storms, etc., going on at that time. And I've got to get 4 new tires on the car very shortly. I've been switching them around and one thing and another and trying to get all the tires to wear out about the same, and I got about that condition now. I had an old retread on the back. In fact, it's the one that you had problems with on your vacation trip up at Weed, I believe you said. And the tread on it finally kind of started peeling a little bit on our way over to Three Rivers the other day, so I changed it and put a spare on, which is with a pretty fair tire. But the other tires I had 2 that I put on a year and a half ago, I guess, Union Oil tires that were guaranteed for 24,000 miles, and they have about 21 or 22 on them now. I don't suppose it'd be worth my while to try to get any kind of adjustment on them against buying new tires. It might. I'm going to go down and talk to the guy about it. I don't think I told you previously about that terrible hurricane torrential rain we had over there at Three Rivers earlier in September, I guess, that it washed down, and I don't know whether the culvert stopped up temporarily or whether there's just that much water, but it came up over the new driveway over there at home and rushed down the driveway towards the bottom of the hill by the river there, and just literally chewed up that new oiled road up and down the hill, washed the shoulder away and cut it all to pieces. They have that DG underneath that they oil, and the water gets coursing in against the edge of it, and it eats that. Turn the tape over. Kind of eats underneath that blacktop on top there, the oiled portion, and that just, of course, floats that stuff away, and it really loused it up. I had Larry Britton go back in and had to keep the road in shape for the sheriff over there, and he thought he was going to have an oiling job, which he could have got it ready to re-oil it, and he did some drainage, put in some ditches along the side, and quite a bit of digging out and one thing another, and so it would drain in case water got in there again, and also the irrigating water has a tendency to get in there sometimes if there's gopher holes. So altogether sounded like we was going to have about a $600 repair job, which I don't really know yet what it's going to cost, but as it turned out, he found out he wasn't going to do the oiling job for Dooley. That's one of the fellows that bought some property up there, and he's put it off till next year. And so he had to fix the road up the driveway with DG and gravel, which will take it through the winter all right, and then maybe come spring, where there'll be some other road oiling going on in the area, and he can whip in there and oil it up. It'll really be a better job than would the other way, because it'll have that gravel in there. And it was apparently not the only place around Three Rivers where that storm raised hell with the roads. Little Earl has his knee in a splinted type thing. He's hurt his knee playing football, and he didn't play this last Saturday nor the week before. 3 weeks ago, 3 Saturdays back, we were over there and went to see him play Delta. That's a team from up north. You probably know where they are. And they won their game. And he had hurt his knee previously and had it drained once or twice, but he got a ligament pull in it now, so they put this like a splint. It's a cast type material that holds his knee straight, so he can't bend it at all. And I don't know whether he'll be able to play anymore or not. They're headed for a championship, and he sure wants to be in on it, but I'll have to think about the future of his leg rather than the glory of the football game. Brad seemed to be able to make it down for our anniversary party. Of course, it being on a Sunday, why, it gives him a chance to get his driving in without interfering with his working hours, so we're glad that he can make it. And then, of course, Marty can make it. I don't know. I haven't talked to Steve. I'm going to have to call him. I think I'll do it in the morning. I don't know what time he gets out, but I've always been able to contact him about 7:20 or thereabouts. But Mother just came in the front door and said it's downright hot outside. She's been out picking the dead leaves off a few flowers and one thing and another, and it's really bright sunny day, although there's still a smattering of a few clouds around. Really a beautiful blue sky. You couldn't hardly see anything prettier. I suppose you will plan to do at least some of your Christmas shopping over here when you get here. We could after the anniversary party, if you come back here with us, why, we could run down to Camarillo down here and go into Unity's big store down there and probably buy some of the things you might want. I think we may go down there, the next week or so, and we don't plan on buying a lot of things, maybe just one or two for an unwrap item for Christmas, and I think we'll just continue to make presents out of the crispest bills we can find in the bank. Mom's got a little bit to say, so here she is.
Hi, kids. I just came in out of the yard, and I'm telling you, it's warm out there. I wanted to say something about our beautiful bird of paradise. The thing is still just loaded with them. One of them is bloomed already, and it's huge and just beautiful. The blossoms are all orange and purple, and, well, I guess you know what they look like, but I hadn't seen one really in bloom before. I'm sure there'll be enough blooms left on the plant so that they'll be blooming profusely by the time you get here, and I know that you can see them then. Speaking of taking pictures, we went up to Darcy's on Tuesday morning about 10 o'clock, and he took us up to the memorial building. All of those liquid amber trees were all gold and orange and red, and he had to stand around in several different places having a picture taken with those trees. I know it'll be just beautiful. Daddy had on a brown sweater and light tan pants, and I had on a blouse that was almost the same color of the leaves. And I know that standing against the background and those gold leaves around, it'll just be gorgeous. Then we went down to his place and had some taking by the river against some of the big old green trees that he has down there, sycamores and the other kinds of trees. I was amused at Gaynor. She bought herself a 1958 Volkswagen. It reminds me something of yours, but she just had it all cleaned up and all the engine all fixed up and the new spark plugs and new this and that. And we went down to where she had the car to pick it up. And when she got in it to test drive it, it nearly jumped out from under it. It was a really fast-going little bug. She spent hours and hours while we were there sanding it down and getting ready to paint it. She said she's going to paint it pretty pink. Whether she will or not, but that's her idea. It has to have bulge hubcaps on it so that it will look like a little racer. It's really cute. She upholstered all the inside of it with new material of some kind, done in kind of red flowers and little green leaves and things on it, and it's really cute. While we were on our last travel club trip, we went down on the beach and picked up chunks of old dried seaweed and seashells, and I have some pretty little rocks, so I made a little thing with seagulls on it with rocks and shells sitting in an abalone shell, and it's real pretty. I have all kinds of shells that Mother left to me when she had picked those that she picked up in Mexico. So I'm going to make some other little shelly things. I have one for the bathroom with the soap in it, and I think maybe I can make some more of those. It's real fun doing them. I haven't done any painting. I just can't seem to get around to it. I don't have any inspiration, say, to do any, but maybe after a while I'll get around to it. Well, I haven't much more to say. I just wanted to tell you a few little things like this. So, bye-bye for now. P.S. Daddy wanted me to tell you that it was still Monday.
Yeah, I wanted you to know we completed this tape in this morning hours here before lunch, and we'll get it off in the mail today, so you'll have it before the week's out anyway. And by the way, you didn't mention what kind of time it took for that last tape to come over. It was the first one I'd sent on that AO mail type. It's, I'm sure, the same thing that you have over there with a little green tag on it. It means, in the typical military language, articles other AO. And of course, the rate is a little cheaper, and but I was just concerned about whether the time was as good or not. If it takes longer to get there, we'll forget it and go on and send it air mail, but there is a little differential. Yours seemed to come through in good time, so I presume it goes both ways about the same as the air mail. It's just a matter of type of material that you're sending that is involved. I don't know whether you heard about it or not, but they had what they call a shower of earthquakes down in the Imperial Valley area. None of them of any consequence. I think they said altogether there was something like 62 discernible shakes over a period of 24 hours or so. Well, there's the clock again. You heard it strike, I presume, which tells you that we've at least been on this thing an hour. Oh, yeah, I hadn't mentioned Earl got him a heck of a buck about the last day of the season. I went over there this last week hoping that I could get one day of a hunt in, and unknown to me, they had cut the season a week this year, so it was all over a week ago last Sunday rather than this past Sunday, yesterday. But he was up in Sycamore up there. I guess you know where that is, way north of our place over there. And he got a 4-point buck. He may be a little bit on the strong side. His neck was swollen quite a bit. We brought some of the liver home, and it's slightly on the musk side. I like it. Mother seems to think it tastes a little strong, but personally I don't. It's not near as bad as I've seen or tasted, so I just hope the bulk of the meat is not strong, which some people sure don't like. I can eat it with a little bit of that, but I don't like very much of it. But the deer had a spread of about 30 inches, a real beautiful head. Too bad he didn't couldn't get it mounted, because it's one of the unusual ones that comes along. But he had to shoot it through the throat and tried to kill it. He broke its legs or shoulders, and it got down, but he was too big to wrestle with a knife in his hand, so he shot it in the throat and shot a little low and cut out quite a chunk of the underneath the throat, back of the jaw, and so it wouldn't have mounted up quite so pretty if that hadn't happened. But he did save the horns, of course. I just noticed an ad in the last issue of the California Farmer, a place up near Marysville, a 150 cow ranch place for sale with a Powder River pellet business, I think they call it. Anyway, they want about $145,000 without the pellet business and $170,000 with the pellet business. It sounds kind of interesting. I'd be very curious about wondering what it is, what kind of a place it might be. It might be something that would be a money maker. Pellet business is pretty good wherever you are with it. But I suppose you heard that motorcycle take off while Mother was talking. We got some people moved in next door here. There's a couple of young fellows. I suppose they're in their early 20s. They both got motorcycles, and I don't think either one of them have legal pipes on them, and they are becoming, to me, a kind of a nuisance. They come in at all hours of the day and night, and they simply will not run their motors at an even speed and even keel. They want to gun them up and turn them off and run on compression up and down these hills and just generate all the noise that's possible. And they come in late hours and leave early and things like that. They're really not, don't make it the most pleasant. It's not unbearable at all, but it could be better if they weren't here. In fact, I think if they continue to do this, that I'll complain to the police. I don't want to tell them who I am or anything, because they probably come over and knock our windows out while we're gone. But at any rate, I don't think they should be permitted to create as much noise as they do. They'd pinch me in 10 seconds if I had a car making that much noise. Leon Craig has been in the hospital now quite a long time, and it's been a terrible strain, I'm sure, for Ollie. He's had this operation on a vein in your artery in his neck to remove a little tumor, and seemed like he was getting along all right, although he's paralyzed on his right side, which happened prior to his entry to the hospital. But he's been up and down, and last week they put him back into intensive care after what appeared to be a distinct improvement. He started hemorrhaging in his lungs, and just the fact the doctor advised Ollie to get the family prepared for the fact that he was pretty close to the end of things. But I'll be darned, in a couple of days, while he switched back and they took him out of intensive care, the only thing they are doing now is giving him a therapy, which he'd been having all the time he was over there. But we haven't heard anything since last Friday morning. I did intend to call Ollie yesterday at the hospital and just let the day get away without calling her. I may call her this afternoon sometime and see what the score is now. It's been a real hassle for Ollie, because she just stays there with him, and in fact, she takes him to his therapy when he's having it herself and spends the days with him. And she's staying now, I think, with some friends that live there in Fresno. She had been staying in the hospital all the time, but I think she's gotten out of the hospital since they changed his room. But it's been a heck of a deal. And of course, there's no chance they can make it to our wedding anniversary party, and we would really love to have had them. That bus ride you described in Korea kind of sounded like what you might have run into down in Mexico, with cages full of chickens and a couple of goats on tethers and hanging around in the bus. But I guess all these kind of experiences are really broadening. They don't hurt very much, but they're not quite as nice as we like to have things. Well, it looks like this tape is getting down to the vanishing point. I don't think there's more than a minute or so left on it, but we'll be hoping to hear from you. If you can't get off a tape, well, we'll see you when you get here, but do drop us a note and kind of give us a little bit of info on what you're going to do when you get here. Well, I think the tape's just about out, so we'll say
Bye-bye.
bye-bye and see you as soon as you get here. Love.